Knockout of the week. We had, after a huge week last week with Tetteh, Frank Martin, Conor Walker, and a few others that we didn't even put in the voting. We had to really nail it down. This week was a little bit less. We had two pretty decent ones. We had Mercado on the Diego Pacheco undercard, landing heavy as he kind of always does. I think that takes him to 18-0, 17 knockouts now. So he's going to be looking at world titles. And then we had French fighter, slightly unknown, Azeez Sonvico. I'm hoping I've said her name right. But we had those two this weekend. Who do you want to see first, Paolo? Who do you want to watch first?
You pick. All of them were good, to be fair.
Let's go, Emily. Let's go, Emily.
Bon, après, il y a 10 reprises de 2 minutes, donc c'est long. On a le temps de faire ce round of...
Au premier coup, c'est terminé.
C'est incroyable.
Incroyable, quelle puissance.
Ah, c'est vraiment une championne à part.
Impressionnante.
Flattened her like a pancake. Yeah, good knockout. Very good knockout.
Folded like a deck chair, man. Crazy.
Yeah. Really good shot. Azeez Sonvico, but interesting. She's like, I think 9-0, 7 knockouts. One to look out for her. I've never heard of her before. I had a little look. Decent little record. I reckon that's a name we might see in the future. So keep that one in the noggin. Right, let's watch Ernesto Mercado. We kind of know what he does, but let's see it anyway.
For the kill. Plenty of time for Mercado to work with here in the 6th round. Another left hook connects there for Mercado.
Look at how patient he is with the power, trying to set up the right punch. Here's Mercado.
What a right hand from Mercado. Down he goes. And the future of this division has arrived.
B-Town has a new star, potential world champion, in Ernesto Tito Mercado. What a performance.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Michael Margotto.
Ernesto Tito Mercado. Not a name we've heard much of. His record's very impressive, but not somebody we've really heard about before the Pacheco fight. Maybe the last year or so he's come onto the bigger stage, but he's going to get himself a world title shot, especially if he's knocking guys out like that. Now, I'll be honest, I was surprised by the winner. We only had 2 this week, and I kind of thought Mercado's in a harder fight. Mercado's footage was a bit easier to watch, I'll be honest. There was actually a 3rd knockout this week. I can't remember the name. Really good shot. But the footage is so bad, it's not usable. And that was actually against Chris Congo. Chris Congo lost on his comeback fight in a journeyman against a journeyman who has previously one fight out of 20. And he knocked out Chris Congo within about 20-30 seconds of the first round. A shame for Chris. I like Chris Congo. He's a good fighter. But the footage of that was terrible. It was a proper small hall show. The only footage is filmed on a phone, and it was about 3 pixels. So I recommend you go watch that. But the winner this week, Azeez Sonvico, French fighter. Our first female winner of Knockout of the Week. Not that it really matters, but our first female winner. And yeah, let's watch it again. But I do think Ernesto Mercado a little bit unlucky there, Paolo, or
Not a tad, but yeah, a little bit. But you know what? What happened, didn't it? What happened. We saw it.
Happened. Yeah. Let's watch Emily do what she decimate her opponent. And that is Knockout of the Week. Azeez Sonvico, as everyone does, we'll give you a prize this week. You can have. Do you know what? You can have this weird little Pokemon thing. I don't really know why I've got it, but it's on my desk. There you go. Winner. chicken dinner. Right, let's move to the weekly roundup. Weekly roundup, when we talk about all things boxing this week, it's kind of the core of the show. I'm going to run through some little bits. We've got some big events this weekend we're going to talk about for a little bit. Unfortunately, Jake Paul will get airtime this episode, but we are talking about real fights as well, and real fighters like Anthony Joshua, like Dan Azeez, like Craig Richards, like Lawrence Okolie fighting in Lagos. Just as a very quick starter, Hunter Shiraz versus Diego Pacheco after Pacheco's win on the weekend is now targeted for February at 168.
Terrible win, though.
Yeah, Shiraz wins that, but it's a really good fight. I don't think that would be for a title. The WBC last week ordered for Shiraz to fight Christian and Billy. Who knows what's going on with the WBC? They withdrew the WBC on the topic of them. Their Whitaker versus Joshua Boatsi fight. They've withdrawn that as a fight they would like in the future as a final eliminator. Not sure why. They just have. They've just taken it. They've decided that was not correct, whatever. And then the only other news that I think is of interest is Tim Tszyu fought on the weekend. Not on the weekend, earlier this week, sort of in the weekdays. And he won. Dominant, unanimous decision against an okay opponent in Velasquez. Good to see Tim Tszyu back. I think he's good for the sport, no matter what Turkey Al-Sheikh says. And that, just looking through, Jazz Dickens is incredible start to the year. It takes a bit of a turn at the end. Rico Satsumi has a cut in sparring, so they're no longer fighting on the 27th of in a week's time, December 27th. And my favorite bit of news this week, potentially, Keno Mali, Brazilian fighter, fought at the Olympics, silver medal, beat Pat Brown in the Olympics. Pat Brown we've seen as a pro now, and we see how good Pat Brown is. Keno Mali, Brazilian fighter, makes his debut on the Anthony Joshua Jake Paul undercard. So for all that the main event is a bit of a, let's call it for what it is, a bit of a shit pile. There was some good fights on the undercard and good fighters. Keno Mali, if this guy's got power, we're talking about maybe the cruiserweight division, him and Pat Brown in future, not a distant future, because the cruiserweight division is a struggling one, especially commercially. Badu Jack lost on the
100%.
weekend. Like, it's difficult. So maybe they'll get shot right through. Right, on the topic of it, let's cover Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua. They've weighed in today. There's a 25 pound difference in weight. Joshua was under the 245 limit. As a little refresh, the rules for this, it's standard boxing rules. It's typical. It's a 22-foot ring. Don't read into that. It is a bigger ring than the average 20-foot, but that's normal. That happens all the time. Sonny Edwards fought in 22-foot rings occasionally. Like, that's a normal thing that happens. Not everything is a conspiracy. So we're not going to do that. 25-pound weight difference, not that it matters. Anthony Joshua could be lighter than Jake Paul. Doesn't matter. But Jake Paul was 216, AJ was 243.
And Joshua will walk in heavier because there's no restriction on him putting on weight. So he will probably walk in heavier come fight night.
Yeah, he maybe walks in.
I'm
not sure how much heavier, but maybe 250.
I'll be so honest with you. Like, for this fight to be any bit believable for me, because it's like the boxing side of me is telling everyone, nah, like he's going to do him, like he should naturally do him. Then there's this side of the world that Jake Paul's on where he's been accused of fixing fights before, allegedly, before people try and sue me. allegedly he's been accused of fixing fights. And as a fan hearing that kind of noise, not a fan of Jake Paul, but a boxing fan, it does worry me a bit, especially with the money that's on the line. Now, on paper, Joshua should ras him in 2 rounds. Yeah?
Yeah.
Jake Paul has a 0.2% chance. That is the Paolo predictor and the percentage that I'm giving him. And that 0.2% is simply for the fact that the only world that Jake Paul wins this fight is if it's fixed. Technically, he's not great. He's improved. He's not great. He lost against Tommy Fury. Tommy Fury, I don't even think it's a top 100 cruiserweight. Or at the time, he might have been 79. Or 80 in the world, according to BoxRec. But, he lost against Tommy Fury. Yes, he did get him down once, but, not a great fighter. Arguably another Misfits fighter, but because he's a professional boxer, I hear Jake Paul saying, he fought a professional boxer. Funnily enough, that's actually his only loss in his 12 or 13 fight career until he fights Joshua. Should be his 14th.
Yeah.
Outside of that, the guys fought Anderson Silva, who, if I'm not mistaken, was probably about 44 when he fought him. He's just touching 50 now.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson, who's nearly 60 years old, if not he's 60 already. Tyrone Woodley, who was in his 40s. Probably his most dangerous opponent, but nevertheless, not a boxer, an MMA fighter. A Golden Gloves champion, who was a Golden Gloves champion when he's 20 years old. I believe the guy was in his late 30s, hadn't boxed for a couple of years. But
Ryan Borland
had a
was
Golden
retired,
Gloves, had a Golden Gloves medal or cup or whatever they give him when he was 20 years old.
Yeah.
And
an amateur as well.
And, outside of that, the guy's fought YouTubers. He's fought Ben Askren, who's a wrestler, not a boxer, not a fighter. Historically, it's known when he's fought in the MMA, he's a wrestler. He's not a striker. And the weight differences have been mad as well. Like, the guy's never... I'm yet to see, maybe bar Tommy Fury fight, the guy fight somebody at his weight where he doesn't have a weight advantage. Like, the thing for me, Conor, is the stupidity of it is that you've gone from fighting a 135-pound fighter in Gervonta Davis to now going to fight a 245-pound heavyweight in the space of 2 weeks. Like, my ability aside, how have you been able to prepare in 2 weeks for the difference in opponents? You need to spar longer than 2 weeks, surely. So, Joshua actually looks like he's taking his fight seriously, which is worrying because there's more chance of seeing.
He is. For those that aren't completely up to date on AJ and his career, obviously he's coming back off the loss of the Dubois, heavy loss against Daniel Dubois September last year. But AJ has been taking this seriously. His plan was to take 2025 off, not fight, take a year out, get his head clear, obviously keep training. Apparently I can't say the word training. There we go. And he's been offered $50 million to fight Jake Paul at the end of the year. He's under a new coach. He's actually fighting with T. Usyk. He had no reason not to take this, AJ. Wasn't in his plan, but he got 6 weeks' notice.
And he got paid $50 million.
As far as we know, there's no foul play, and he's getting $50 million to go in there against a guy who, like you said,
he's an ounce of his ability.
He's not a bad fighter. I don't really like hearing that anymore. I think he's proved himself enough to say that he is okay.
All right, proved himself where, though?
Well, look, I mean, I hate to say it, but his first 14 fights been fairly more competitive than most the average fighters' first 14.
I disagree.
We shouldn't compare him to a world champion or anyone that's done anything significant in the sport. But Andre August was 10-1 when they fought. Ryan Borland was 17-2. Yeah, he had a big layoff, but whatever. Tommy Fury, obviously he lost, but split decision loss, I think. Tommy Fury again was like 6th fight, something like that. So there's legitimate fights in there. There's also ones like Mike Tyson where he's 59 years old. There's Mike Perry when he was
he never had a boxing
against Jake Paul. Exactly. So there's guys like that and then Julio Cesar Chavez, who is in no way, well, Junior, I should say, Senior is a legend. Junior is not a legend. Former world champion, but he's a former world champion you've pulled out of retirement before he's then been arrested and likely is going to prison. So it's not a good record, but it's a good base to build on. It is not a good base to build on and then go in there against Anthony Joshua. The Gervonta Davis fight was interesting because of the weight difference.
Yeah.
But there is a point where you do too much, and he's done far too much here. It's not even biting off more than you can chew. He can't actually get this in his mouth. There's too much food that Anthony. We're talking 27-pound difference in weight. 2-time heavyweight world champion against a guy that normally fights at cruiserweight who's coming up to heavyweight. The lack of preparation. Anthony Joshua's had 6 weeks or 4 or 5 weeks, whatever it is. That's enough for him. Because we know AJ's dedicated. He's in fight shape near all year round. He can go at any time. Jake, to be fair, is dedicated. His sparring partners have been good. We saw Jake Paul sparred with Jared Anderson, Frank Sanchez, and Lawrence Okolie, but let's just get it clear. Anderson does not hit as hard as AJ. Sanchez does not hit as hard as AJ. Lawrence Okolie is the only one there that comes close, but realistically, I don't think hits as hard as AJ.
The record is trash. I don't buy it.
Yeah. I just don't understand this.
Bearing in mind, I can't give that man's record any respect. The man, really and truly, yeah. I hear what you're saying about his first 14 fights. I hear it, yeah. But if we're really being honest with you, his first 4 fights were against people who equally the same as him, were debut boxers or debut boxing careers. Ben Askren never had a boxing match. Nate Robinson never had a boxing match. Ali Eason Gibb, who's a misfits fighter, never had a boxing match prior to this. Obviously, he's gone on since to do influencer boxing. Tyrone Woodley, an MMA fighter, never had a boxing match. Anderson Silva had 2 professional fights before he fought Jake Paul. Tommy Fury, as we know, had 8. Nate Diaz, debut, old man. Andre August, I'll be honest with you, haven't heard of him. Don't really rate his credentials. Ryan Borland, don't rate his credentials. Michael Perry is probably half the size of Jake Paul. Mike Tyson is probably a couple years off getting a bus pass. Julio Cesar Chavez retired, come out of retirement, fought Jake Paul, got nicked, been deported, probably in prison because of what he'd done. That was what happened with Julio Cesar Chavez, but not in any form to fight. He's now fighting an Olympian, 2-time heavyweight world champion, who is coached and in the same camp as one of the greatest fighters to fight of all time. And not only just that, Conor, but the man that he's training with was a man that gave him 2 defeats. And then Joshua went and took his coaches on to be in his corner, which I think moving forward for the next year, this could be the case with Joshua, and Joshua becomes Team Usyk, which would be quite interesting if he does that.
Definitely.
But having said that, that is Jake Paul's record, and for that reason, respectfully, I know the promoters are building it up, but I'm really not trying to hear it, bro. I'm just not. I give this guy maybe. The card's great. What they've done with the card now, as a promoter, what Jake Paul's done on the card, very, very good. Can't complain.
Yeah.
You've got some great fights on there, which I know you're going to sort of give a shout out to and lead on to the next point. But as a boxer, this ends very badly for him. He might not remember the event. I think Joshua will hit him that hard.
I think the issue. Well, I don't know. Well, the one of the issues is definitely the fact AJ doesn't. He doesn't really fuck about. I know there is this idea that he's a bit of a, like media trained TV personality,
I think that went out the window
celebrity.
when he lost the heavyweight belts, but I hear it.
But that's kind of gone. He's not. He's made it clear Anthony Joshua's goal is to be 3-time heavyweight world champion. That's his goal, and it's been his goal since losing his titles to Usyk. He got a shot against Dubois, lost to the better fighter on the day, got clipped early. Just for the rest of it, was not a good day for him. Fine, took time out. He's not too old yet, AJ. That timeout's done him any harm.
Nah.
But next year he wants to push on, and no doubt he's having at least 2 fights next year. And the second fight he will want to be for a title, and it more than likely will. It is difficult for the undisputed champions to remain undisputed.
You know what's mental? You know what the problem is? Yeah, there are genuine people that out there that believe that Joshua's chin. He's so done because of what Daniel Dubois to him, who's also an elite athlete, by the way, elite heavyweight.
Yeah.
That it is so bad that Jake Paul, of no achievements whatsoever, other than the fact that he was probably the biggest star on Disney Channel, is going to knock him out. Regardless of how many fights this guy has, until I see him go in the route that other boxers take, and fighting consistently at a weight that he is, I can't respect what he's done. In fighting, but in promoting, the man has done very, very well for women's boxing.
I still respect the fact he is getting in there with Anthony Joshua. I just think it's really stupid.
But
that's my view on it from him. But I'm like, he's signed to fight.
You put £50 million in cash in front of most men, and they'll jump in the ring, even if they're going to.
Yeah, true. But I mean, that is different though, because we are talking about a guy that's worth. Is he worth hundreds of millions now, Jake Paul? He must be up there, right? Let's have a very quick look.
Yeah.
Net worth $200 million.
Crazy.
So he doesn't need to fight someone for 50 mil.
No.
He'll sell and he'll get a fight. He could get anyone in there, and he'll make a decent amount of money. So
why should in that case, like if we're saying it off a money basis, why should these guys be even warrant getting in a ring with these great heavyweights just because they've got money? Because if that's the case, then Turki Al-Sheikh should be able to fight Bud Crawford tomorrow.
Well, we'll get on to the main reason that can't happen.
I know,
one of them isn't a fighter anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah.
The point I'm trying to make is it doesn't matter how much money you've got. Like, there's no... The professional boxing board should not be sanctioning this. The problem is...
No, you're right.
They're getting paid too much money in their pocket to sanction it. So there's a lot of under the table shit going on with these professional boards, because when something bad happens, if Joshua comes out and does what I believe he says he's going to do, something bad will happen. When that happens, there is no other outcome. We saw what he done to Ngannou. That's all I'm going to leave it there.
I am actually worried a little bit about Jake Paul's safety. Don't get me wrong, he signed the fight. He is a boxer, to be fair to him. But it's National League versus Champions League here. This is the problem. I'd say you are against. Yeah. This is the biggest issue. I don't even know if it's under the table money, because ultimately the commission will get a fee, a sanctioning fee. The fact Netflix are involved, the amount of money that's in this event, the Miami State Athletic State Commission, whatever their title is, I can't remember exactly, but they're going to rake it in. They don't need any underhand
ability is. Do you know, like the difference in ability is not kind of like we just made a great. You made a great example there. National League to Champions League. I'll do one better.
Yeah.
There's a local Sunday team near me called Larkspur Rovers. Yeah, historical club,
Right.
great. Many teams, been going for about 50 years. They might butcher me if I got that wrong, but it's not far off. That's like Lionel Messi turning up at Larkspur's ground
Yeah.
to play a Sunday league game. That is the difference in ability and level. I'm sorry, but like the level in ability is the equivalent. Like you wouldn't hear me out, yeah. I've got to be careful what I say because I was about to say something mad, Conor, but I thought better not because it would just come out wrong. But if we're doing this, would you chuck Alexander Usyk in the ring with KSI?
No.
No.
But that's actually more ridiculous. Usyk's better than AJ. KSI's worse than Jake Paul.
But they're from the same world, though.
Yeah, no, you're right. Look, I mean, the fight itself is interesting, but it's kind of only interesting because we know what's going to happen.
Everyone's watching.
Assuming everything. The fight's going to make a load of money. For me, I'm kind of interested to see AJ under new coaches, although I know that we're not going to see much of it, we shouldn't see much of it. But the worry for me is how easily these fights can get made. If the Nevada State Commission and the New York Commission both say, we're not going to do that fight, we don't want it, they shouldn't then be able to just go to the next commissioning board and say, hello, do you want to do this? Are you all right to sanction it? Until they find one. Because, well, then any fight ever could be made, however ridiculous. They can go to 50 states and ask all of the commissioning boards there. They can come to the UK. I mean, British Boxing Board of Control are pretty good and they don't really play about with what fights they allow. But they can go to the Middle East. They can go to Africa. They can go to Asia. South America. They can go anywhere if we're doing it like that. If a fight is denied by a board, it should take some serious appeal to get that overturned before you can then just go and get it made by somebody else.
Yeah. Do you not agree?
But
sorry.
No, sorry, go
on. Sorry, this is not. Yeah. Do you not agree that realistically this fight could have only have happened in 3 places: Middle East, USA, or the UK? UK hasn't allowed it because we have a board with common sense. To be fair, despite some of their wrong, they have common sense for the most part. Middle East, I don't think Turkey Al Sheikh would allow it, just because he's not into that YouTube thing at the moment. But if money becomes scarce, I could probably see him as the first one sort of turning towards that.
I could see him dabbling.
Yeah, but not at the moment. Too many great fights to make. And so you got USA, Middle East, and the UK now. Like you said, there's so many different boxing boards in the US.
Yeah.
Collectively, they should have come to a decision to not allow stuff like this to happen. The chances is Jake Paul or MVP Promotions has probably fronted a lot of money to these guys to make this fight happen. Maybe amounts that would change certain people's lives. I don't believe this fight was sanctioned without somebody putting their hand in their pocket. And allegedly, they could have been something past because common sense is not common with this. So, take common sense out the window to money, man. But it's actually, bar this fight, it's actually a very good card.
Yeah, so the Florida department, I shouldn't have said Miami because it's obviously not a state, but the Florida Department of Business and Professional Regulation, which is what cover boxing, they handle licenses and permits, which have associated fees, but they're not sanctioning fees. So there's some tiny amounts of money for referees, judges, physicians, or anything for a non-title. But in that permits and licenses, that's where the fees could be adjustable. That's where suddenly Florida there's room to negotiate, let's call it. And that's what I mean. I don't think it's under the table sort of slip of money. But you are right. I reckon it's MVP going, all right, well, we'll give you this amount because we're going to make that back anyway. Because you got to remember that the main event is Jake Paul, who owns or has major shareholder. He's a major shareholder within MVP promotions, so he can afford it. They're not losing out on this event, regardless. The event itself, we will talk about, because we don't need to go into the details of the fighters, but we have Alicia Baumgardner fighting against Leila Bondine. Very good fight. Leila Bondine, for anyone that doesn't know, 13-1. BoxRec have a number 4. I'm not sure that she's maybe as high as that, actually. I think it might just be a few of the women in Superfed that have lost recently or moved up or whatever. But she's a good fighter, and it's a good fighter for Alicia Baumgardner to come back against the last time she fought. Not come back against, because she did fight way earlier in the year, back in July or whatever it was. But it's her second fights of the year since her pretty interesting drug ban. You got your Costa Vale versus Yadira Bustillos, another female fight. I honestly don't know much about either. Kind of excited to see it. Sounds good. Chenika Johnson, very good fighter, versus Amanda Gal. Amanda Gal, I've heard about quite a few times as being a very, very good fighter. 12-1, another Canadian fighting on the card. Then you got Caroline Dubois, defending her WBC World Lightweight title. Potentially looking to set up a fight. It's Elif Nur Tan, the lady that knocked out Beatrice Ferreira only a week and a half ago. And then you've got Keno Mali making his debut. If you're interested, you've got Anderson Silva versus Tyron Woodley as well, which I guess is kind of interesting. I don't know if that's I'm not interested by it, but if you want to see two old MMA legend, I mean, Anderson Silva's definitely a legend. Woodley, kind of a legend. You want to see them fight. They've got a 6-round fight. Former Jake Paul opponents on the undercard.
Yes.
The event's very good. I like the event.
Got to give some credit to MVP. I know we've been bad sort of mouthing as a boxer, Jake Paul, which is, one of them things, but I will give credit where it's due. MVP as a promotion are really up and coming. Like, I'm really impressed with what they're doing, especially with the women's boxing. And I'm keeping an eye on it, and I'm sure they've just acquired Caroline Dubois. They've got some great fighters on there, like you said, Alicia Bummer, you got Ellie Scottney, you got Caroline Dubois. There's a list of fighters that Most Valuable Promotions has signed. Serrano is on there as well, obviously. I like the direction they're going in. You can see the market that they're trying to target, which is female boxing, which over the years probably hasn't gotten the same attention or limelight as probably the men's boxing has, and I don't agree with that. But it kind of is what it is. I'm just speaking like history of certain things that happen. And these shows are good. So, they're going to inspire a whole new generation to watch boxing, whether they're just sitting there watching it or getting involved or just enjoying the sport. So from that point of view, you have to give MVP props, because what they're doing in the boxing world is good, and I respect that side of it, and I will be watching closely on that as well. I would love to watch more MVP cards, because I know there's some great female talent on there. I would love at some point to see more of these fights without Jake Paul fighting. I know he's done it once or twice.
Yeah.
I'd love to see more of these cards where there's not a Serrano but someone else headlining it as well. So hopefully we can see that in time because as I think we can both agree, they've got some great fighters on there.
They do, and they keep signing great fighters as well, which is good. They keep signing great fighters. It is a brilliant event. Not, however, the event that I am most excited to watch this weekend. Obviously, the main event is massive. I am excited to see. I'm excited to see certain parts of the main event. I don't know whether or not I'm excited to see Jake Paul get knocked out because, to be honest with you, I don't dislike him enough I don't know if I dislike anyone enough to get punched by Anthony Joshua. That's the way to put it. But we also have, let's do it in chronological order actually. In Ghana, Accra, Ghana, we have Craig Richards versus Dan Azeez.
Massive card. Big moment.
Huge card. We've got Seth Jemiah, who you might know fought on a few Queensbury cards. He's quite big on Instagram. He's a good fighter. He is by nationality Ghanaian. I think he grew up in London, but it's a great fight for him. Great opportunity for him to fight on a huge card in his home country.
Mm-hmm.
He's actually fought the majority of his. Oh, actually, you know what? I'm chatting shit. I've not followed this guy enough. He's been fighting in Ghana pretty much since the Queensbury card. So for him, this is just another day at the office. But he's in a good fight against Jonathan Tetteh. I don't know if there's any relation to Kevin, but good fight on the undercard. Nishant Dev, India's best fighter by a long shot, but also the most interesting fighter that Matchroom have for me, because imagine they can unlock India and that audience of 1.5 billion people. If anyone can, it's going to be Nishant Dev because of his skill. So very interested to see him. It's an okay fight. He's against 8-5 Ali Mbakwa. So it's all right, but we won't see him in anything too competitive. We've got Leo Atang fighting again. Actually in a pretty good fight against Babu Youssef, who's 3-0. Only one knockout from the Ugandan, but yeah, that's a much better. Oh, it's a winning record, so we can't complain too much. And then the main event, Craig Richards, Dan Azeez, both really need a win if they want to get back onto the bigger stages. Dan Azeez been enjoying life fighting on the Amir Khan promotions. Craig Richards did win his last fight, but it wasn't a great fight, not a great win. So both do need that little bit more.
Do you know what? I think it's worth.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, go on.
No, that's all I was going to say. I was just going to say that Willie Hutchinson obviously beat Craig Richards last year.
There is a big, and I think, whilst we're on the subject of, because they don't get enough sort of promotion, and I'm glad Queensbury Matchroom are venturing over to and Amir Khan, obviously, with his promotion, they're all venturing over towards the continent of Africa to fight. Some other cards that don't probably get the same amount of love, probably because they haven't got well-known fighters on it, but it is good to note, whilst we're on the subject, Conor, that there's three cards in different professional boxing events in Tanzania this Friday night as well. All they look stacked as well. Just, I know it's a bit off key and random, but it is something to mention. That professional boxing is very prevalent, and hopefully events like this can bring more eyes to those events and get more fighters, because there is obviously talent everywhere. Yeah. Sorry, go on. That's what I had to say about that.
No, you're right though. That's why these bigger events in Africa is good, because it gives a lot of fighters that neither of us have ever heard about getting a shot. There's a fight between Harley Dogbetter and John Laria for the IBF African featherweight title. Brilliant. I'm excited to see this. This is good. Also in Africa this weekend, but on Sunday night instead of Saturday, we have Amir Khan Promotions again, headlined this time by Lawrence Okolie, fighting Ebenezer Tetteh. In all honesty, it's not a great fight. Okolie should walk through Tetteh quite easily, but for what it's meant to be. You've got Okolie, who has Nigerian roots, fighting in Nigeria, in the capital of Lagos, in a fight against Ebenezer Tetteh, who's not a bad heavyweight either, by the way. It's not like this is a roll in the park. It's not Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua. It's just if Okolie doesn't win, or win convincingly, then it's like, okay, Okolie at heavyweight's not going to work out. But still a good fight. Tony Yoka versus Patrick Quarte. Again, I'd expect Yoka to win that pretty easily. But we know with Yoka, his career is a bit up and down. So still, he needs to be careful. Harley Ben's on there, cousin of Conor Ben, nephew to Nigel. And then the rest of the card, again, Harley Ben, yeah.
That is his son.
Harley Ben's son, is it? Are they
Harley
half
Ben
brothers?
is Nigel Ben's son.
Know that. Or maybe.
Very interesting.
Oh, right. I see. They're half brothers. Him and Conor.
I don't really understand. There's no relationship there, from what I understand anymore.
Yeah.
Very distant. I think he's publicly spoken about it. I'll be brutally honest with you. If we're really on the subject of this guy, I don't really understand the route he's going down. He fought on a semi-professional boxing show, DKM Plush, 3 weeks ago, Harley Ben, in a warm-up fight for his professional fight in Africa. I don't really understand the preparation with that. And I think I said this to a guy who's involved with the unlicensed boxing. He fought on an unlicensed boxing show, DKM Plush.
Yeah.
You know, and this is no disrespect because we're involved with one ourselves, but you know, the pro ranks, so the unlicensed ranks, it's not unobtainable for unlicensed fighters to go professional. There's specific reasons some of them don't go pro because they just don't have the funds or whatnot. But it is a weird way to, you know, considering the opponent he was in the ring with, who didn't, in terms of quality, was not great at all. I wouldn't even give him a quarter of a star on BoxRec. Maybe one little corner of it he'd get. And that was his kind of warm-up to it. The fight is on YouTube somewhere or it's on Instagram. You can go and see it. But it's strange. I don't get that preparation, I'll be honest. But he hasn't fought for a couple of years.
It's sparring, live sparring kind of thing.
He hasn't fought for a couple of years. He's kind of back now, but I don't really know how far he can go. Because I don't think he's on the level that a lot of professional boxers are there. And that's just my opinion. You know, everyone's entitled to them. People can be wrong. He doesn't have to disagree with me, but that is kind of just what I think. He's still got to go and fight a certain somebody. There was a fight that was meant to happen on Boxer's card. Was it Boxer's card? Yeah, it was Boxer's card. It was not meant to happen. Michael Hennessy and Harley Ben. Fran Hennessy's brother, who was boxing professionally before. I wouldn't say he's retired, but I think he just kind of took a break from it to focus on his work and stuff like that. He's quite a respected boxing coach and personal trainer as well. But they were meant to fight, and since then I haven't really heard Harley Ben's name anywhere. And then he didn't fight, and he had some back and forth with Bradley Skeet. It was it was an interesting time. But obviously, look, Michael.
Harley's been out the ring for 3 years.
I can't lie to you though. I can't lie to you though. The activity of Michael compared to Ben, it was probably good Ben didn't take that fight.
Well, quality as well.
Yeah.
Michael,
100%.
yeah, I mean, Michael Hennessy's not world level, but he's a good pro boxer. He's a good pro boxer. Harley Benn, I've not seen anything that convinces me Harley Benn's going to be anything
like his
more than what he is at the moment, which isn't bad, but it's not.
Not everyone's
not
got
great.
the genes, man. Or not every, and I don't mean that disrespectfully, but like, you know, everyone will assume Harley Benn needs to be like Conor Benny's on his own journey, innit? What that means, I don't know. But you know,
well, look, he's got a pro fight this weekend against Elvis Ahorga, who's 15-4. Harley's 9-2.
Fight. That's a hard
that
fight.
Is a hard fight.
To come back off your break.
He's 15-4 with 13 KOs, Elvis Ahorga. So Ghanaian born, fighting out of Ghana as well.
Fought Callum Simpson.
Fought Callum Simpson. Interesting.
Yes.
Just seen that. And fought Tyler Denny. So he's been in there with two.
He took Callum Simpson at I think he took Callum Simpson to that fight at short notice. The fight itself was quite short notice, I think, for Callum. And probably Elvis was just to get his name out there to fight on Boxer. That was his first show on Sky Sports. And then he got the Tyler Denny fight afterwards, you know. So 2
months after as well. So he a little bit. You can read into you can look into these records and you can actually see what's happened. His first loss was a unanimous decision. That comes less than a month after his previous fight. And then he had just over 3 months to prepare for a fight against Hassan Makinyo, where he lost by knockout for the WO African middleweight title in Zanzibar. So, that record to me screams of someone who's just having to fight a little bit more than they'd like, purely because I don't know whether it's experience. I mean, you have to fight Callum Simpson. Wembley Arena, you can't not take that opportunity. So, and to fight on TV, I mean, that's a boxer's dream. For Commonwealth title as well. Tyler Denny's the exact same, even if it is only 2 months, less than 2 months after. Again, you kind of have to take it. So, for me, it screams of someone that's just waiting for that opportunity. Could be wrong.
I don't know.
I'm just not sure Harley Benn's going to be hungry enough.
I don't think he's going to be fit.
That's interesting. That's interesting to me.
This is one of them fights. Elvis is a hard challenge, and to be fair, a lot of respect for him off the back of the Callum Simpson fight. I know he lost it, and he lost to Tyler Denny, but they are two good fighters. It's not terrible names to lose against, and that's why I say he's got a little engine on him. I don't know if Harley Benn's got the quality to stop him off what I've seen. It's one of these.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. Elvis it'd be an interesting fight to watch, but what a card.
Yeah, and then we won't go through all of the names here, but there is not a losing record for the other fighters. Most of them are winning by a fair amount, other than a 5-3 and a 2-1. Everyone else, we've got 9-0, 6-0, 3-0, 5-0, 9-0, 18-0, 7-1, 23-3, all fighting each other. So, good event, really good event. Amir Khan Promotions done it again. I mean, their events recently have been getting better and better. The fact they're doing it in Africa, as I've said a few times, is brilliant. Very happy. Good stuff. Right, very quickly. We're not going to talk about it too much because the episode's going to go on too long. Diego Pacheco won. It was an okay fight. He got the job done against a pretty tough Kevin Saggio. Fair play. Giorgio Visioli beats Joe Howarth. Joe Howarth took him 10 rounds. It was a fairly easy fight for Visioli, but Joe Howarth showed a lot. Howarth will come back from that. John Hedges and Ellis Oro, not a great, style-wise, just did not work, but Hedges beat Zorro on the cards. The ones that I really wanted to mention, William Croller back with a very good, clean knockout. TMA Ayton with a huge knockout. That's a boxer you want to keep an eye on. Adam Maka also back with a pretty big knockout of himself. And Conor Mitchell making his debut, looked seriously impressive. So we'll keep an eye on him. He's from Essex. He's amongst sort of Conor Benn. I don't know if he fights from Tony Sims, but he's amongst that group, so he'll be one to have a look for. Right. We did have someone retire this week. Not just someone, but Terence Crawford has hung the gloves up at 42-0. 3-time unified undisputed, 5-division champion. Never lost a single round in his career. Just beat Canelo after moving up 2 weight divisions to do it. I mean, we can keep going on, but I don't even know what to say. I mean, he's the modern era. He probably goes down as the modern era GOAT. I mean,
I have said openly. First of all, before I talk on Terence Crawford, I think it's important to say the boxing pride of Omaha, Nebraska.
Yeah.
Bud Crawford, undefeated. Interesting point about Bud is he either won all of his fights by knockout or unanimous decision.
He's never had a judge score a round against him.
Nope.
By the way, that's the big one. That's the crazy one. We know how judging is in boxing, and this guy's never had a judge look at him and go, "Oh, maybe they won the round." He's won every round.
I think we can argue Terence Crawford is our modern day Floyd Mayweather. There's no other way to put it.
Yeah.
When Floyd retired, it was a massive thing. And Terence Crawford is the same. You know, you're talking about the only fighter, 4-weight world champion? 5-weight world champion, undisputed at super middle. Listen, it's crazy. I can't believe that I got to witness another great boxer since Floyd like that. That reminded me so much, similar, not the same, but similar. I can't explain it, but he's a modern day Floyd. He will be remembered as a great, and what a way to sign off by fighting one of the generational greats in Canelo, Saul Alvarez, in a fight where he absolutely dominated, took him round the park on a lead, let him off when he wanted to, put him back on. It was a masterclass. We talk about some of the great fights he's been in. Spence, what a fight. What he done to Spence was crazy. We have to give this man hella respect. He will go down as one of the greatest boxers of all time.
He's one of the guys, like we've done this before, but he is one of these where we will talk about his name for years and years to come because we will say,
modern day Floyd.
Yeah, this person's great, but could he beat Crawford or could Crawford beat it? And he will always be in that conversation, which makes him a GOAT. That makes him goated. And also, really, of the modern era, there's only 2 fighters that have the potential to come close to what he's doing. And for them to do it, we've got Noah Inoue and Alexander Usyk. Usyk, in his own right, both of them in their own right have created their own legacies. But neither of them have quite done it like Crawford. Don't get me wrong, Usyk has done mental things in the sport. And if he continues, him and Crawford we might actually have to just be fair and say they share that podium number 1 spot. No, Inoue's got a lot more to do, but we know just how good he is. So, Crawford's just in the league. He's on his own. He's on his own.
Yeah, can we just talk a little bit about some of the? I mean, just very quickly because I know we haven't got a lot of time. Ricky Burns, the fight that people remember when he went to Scotland and done what he done, crazy, crazy. Benavidez Jr. People know that name. No Benavidez.
Yeah, Jose Benavidez Jr. Yeah.
Amir Khan, Kell Brook,
Sean Porter's my favourite of the lot.
Yeah,
Sean Porter
David-
gets told, his coaches say, "Oh, you're down in the rounds. Round 10." Coaches say, "Oh, you're losing this, by the way. With the judges have you losing." No, they didn't, but they just knew how to get the best out of him.
Yeah,
Crawford
David
goes out there, 10 seconds, Sean Porter's down. A minute later, fight's done. Round 10. I mean, it's just beautiful fight.
David Avaneson, another
Yeah,
fight which
brutal.
doesn't, and it was a good fight. Errol Spence Jr. How can we forget this one? All judges scored it 79-70 in Terence Crawford's favor.
Yeah.
And Israel Madrimov, again, another good fighter. Israel Madrimov.
Yeah.
And then went on, and that was kind of his step up to, I'd say, 154. And then from there, he jumped up to 168 to challenge for all of them. BoxRec have actually taken the W. they've taken a belt off, but I hear it. It's because of the sanctioning fees. But yeah, it's childish. But we know he won it. I don't know if that's just my thing glitching, but I thought they took it off.
They take the WBA off. The WBA and BoxRec don't like each other.
Yeah,
not sure why,
so
but
the he is the WBA, IBF, WBC, WBO super middleweight, undisputed world champion, undisputed at welterweight. I mean, come on, man, super light, super light.
Yeah.
It's mental. It's crazy.
Yeah, the guy's incredible, man.
Yeah. So for me, he's earned it. He's earned it. And I wish him nothing but the best in whatever he does next. The guy can do exhibition fights, can do public appearances, can do movies. He can do what he wants. He's won everything.
Yeah. He's done. Yeah, he's done.
He's
everything.
achieved what 95% of boxers won't achieve in their career.
99.99999. I mean, Terence Crawford's in a league of his own, really. Maybe with Floyd and Sugar Ray's and all the rest of it. But I think this is a good place to call the episode. Terence Crawford, the modern day GOAT. Good luck in your retirement, whatever it is you want to do. He can do anything. I mean, if you've seen the guy doing any other sport, he clearly could have been the GOAT at anything he decided. It just so happened, sadly, for the likes of Canelo, Spence, Porter, Brook, Ricky Burns, Amir Khan, Avaneson, all these guys that Crawford chose, boxing. As you will have seen on screen, we've had a reminder to subscribe. We are closing in on 300, which means we are well over halfway to 500, where we will announce the winner of the £50 Amazon gift card. All you have to do, subscribe and then comment. Let us know that you have subscribed. You don't have to say subscribe. You can comment anything. Why not comment your favourite Crawford moment? Who's going to win this weekend between AJ and Jake Paul? Even if you think it's ridiculous to say, are you excited for it? All of these little things we want to hear about. We are live for Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua. And do you know what? It's Christmas and I don't have work on Monday and I don't have anything planned on Sunday. So I think the channel will be live on Saturday. Not in Ghana. I'd love to be in Ghana, but for Craig Richards and Dan Azeez. And Sunday, we might just be live for Chaos in Lagos before Christmas time. And then after Christmas, we've got Noah Inoue versus Picasso, Junto Nakatani on the undercard. Still one of the Satsumis on the undercard. There's a lot going on in boxing right now, and it's pretty exciting. Paolo, do you have anything you want to say to the ever lovely people at home?
I got one more thing to say to you guys. Terence Crawford, I'm just saying, MMA could never. I'll leave it there.
Oh, okay. We will leave it there.